Story 1. I enjoy my own company. I miss intimacy, but it's not worth the hassle of a relationship. I'm happy being single, and I remember feeling obligated to watch movies with him night after night. Really, I would have liked to do whatever I wanted alone, without causing him to be upset for the next few days. If I accidentally meet someone who seems right for me, I will take it slow and ask a lot of questions. Story 2. I don't have the energy or patience for a relationship or the inevitable arguments and conflicts that follow. Story 3. I am happy and content with my life now. My schedule and life in general are not really compatible with dating. Story 4. I have more problems than I can solve. I can barely care for my own life, so I cannot worry about other lives. Story 5. Freedom to do whatever you want, whenever you want. Feeling like driving 2 hours into Pennsylvania at 2:39 a.m. to catch a sunrise? Go for it. Story 6. Too much responsibility. I also don't like to touch people much, and in the 2 serious relationships I've had, they always wanted more physical affection. I am not interested in fixing that either. Story 7. Honestly, I can't open my heart to anyone and risk being crushed. It would just ruin me. So, I choose to be happier being single. Story 8. I have many ambitions that hinge on not being tied to any particular location. I'm also 40, so most people in my dating age group are settled in their lives, so I just do my own thing. Story 9. I do not want to compromise anymore. I did it for 20 years and held back from doing the things I truly wanted to do. I will not return to that again. Story 10. I find being single enjoyable and prefer not to deal with or worry about anyone else. Can be quite annoying at times. Story 11. Life is pretty good. Sure, I miss being in a relationship, but I'm okay with not being in one right now. It's not ideal, but I'd rather be single than with someone who isn't right for me. Relationships take time. Life isn't a race. Story 12. I never bothered putting myself out there. The urge to do so never came to me. Eventually, I became increasingly complacent being single. Story 13. I know this may seem strange, but sometimes when I think about it, I tell myself that if I enter a relationship and get married now at 27, my life will be over and I will be living my life for someone else. So I am just enjoying my life until then. Story 14. I am looking for someone who brings peace into my life. I have been through a lot, but at my core, I am a laid-back, easygoing person. Unfortunately, some people mistake that for being a pushover or indifferent and try to push my boundaries to get a reaction. Until someone proves they add to my peace, I am perfectly content with my friends and my puppy. Story 15. I wanted to focus on raising my son, as you can never be certain where relationships will lead. I didn't want to risk having a parade of men in and out of his life. Story 16. It seems like a lot of work and effort just so I can have someone come and leave their shoes in my walking path and disrupt my home. I would prefer they do that in their own home. Story 17. My wonderful husband passed away. No one could measure up, so I have resigned myself to being single. I am grateful that I had such a great partner, and I am actually happy being single. Story 18. I need some final touches and a new job. But honestly, I have a hard time falling for someone, and I am more mindful about whom I choose to spend time with. Story 19. I feel like I don't have enough free time. Adding another commitment would only make me unhappy. Story 20. I have a long story. I met my wife in college and married her for the rest of my life. We had a good life together and a wonderful marriage. She died of cancer 2.5 years ago, and my heart is open. Maybe I won't be single someday in the future, but for now I am. I had a long story. I want a short one now. Story 21. I was single until I was 30 and never dated anyone. I just wasn't attracted to my age group and witnessed the drama my friends experienced. I wanted no part of it, especially combined with some childhood issues. I am in a relationship now, but there are definitely times I would rather be single again. Story 22. Didn't know I needed a reason. We come into the world single without a boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, or wife. Why does there need to be a reason for staying that way? Story 23. Self-respect. I don't ask anything from a man that I don't give to myself, but I haven't found a man who can meet that standard. I pay my own bills, own my own house, have no debt, hold an advanced degree, and have a lucrative career. I manage my schedule and medical appointments. I keep my house clean, cook for myself, maintain good hygiene, and stay healthy and fit. I am motivated. I try to be kind, volunteer, and take care of my friends and family. I travel and laugh often. I care about others and work to protect the vulnerable. If I ever met a man who did all of these things, I might consider giving up my single life. However, my single life is wonderful and fulfilling. I am loved. I have friends who care about me. I am not going to sacrifice my freedom or happiness for someone who doesn't do the same things I do. I am not asking for too much because it is exactly what I offer. If they can't do it, I don't need to be with anyone. Story 24. It is complicated. I felt a lot of pressure as a child to take care of everyone, and I spent 2 years caring for my father, so I truly value time to myself where I can simply do whatever I want. Story 25. I am tired of starting over and trying to trust someone, just for it to blow up in my face later on. Additionally, no one is genuine anymore. I am enjoying the peace that comes with being by myself. Story 26. My longtime bachelor friend tells me that he has been single for so long that he cannot imagine dealing with another person in that way. It is strange, too, because when he was in college, his girlfriend was such a cool person. Now, I cannot imagine him trying to date. Story 27. I have become accustomed to living alone and having the freedom to do whatever I want, whenever I want. Although it can get lonely at times, I have a dog who is the best listener. Story 28. I am single by choice now, prioritizing my peace of mind over a relationship, especially considering past trauma. If true love comes, that is wonderful. If not, I am perfectly content. Story 29. Scared of being vulnerable again, considering the last 2 years ended with the words, "I never had feelings for you." Story 30. When I was single, I experienced a relationship that was heartbreakingly painful when it ended. The one after that involved abuse from almost the very beginning, which made me realize I needed to prioritize my health and happiness. I aimed to choose relationships for positive reasons instead of merely avoiding negative experiences. I remained single for 5 years until I met a woman who convinced me that my single life was worth giving up. She was worth the effort of being the person she deserved. My wife is incredible. I knew immediately that she was the kind of woman I could love permanently. We have been together for almost a decade, and I am significantly happier now that she is in my life, just as she is happy to have me. Being single can and should be fun. You are a free agent. Your time is exclusively your own outside of work hours or parenting responsibilities. Make the most of your single life by using your time in ways that bring you long-term happiness and help you realize your worth. Story 31. I am choosing to be single because I am prioritizing myself, my peace, my healing, and my growth. I no longer want to pour my energy into people who only take and never give back. I refuse to abandon myself for the illusion of being chosen by someone else. I am learning to recognize my worth without needing external validation, and I am building a life where my happiness isn't dependent on anyone else's attention. I am single not because I am undesirable or unlovable, but because I deserve something real, something reciprocal. Until then, my focus is on becoming the strongest, most fulfilled version of myself. Story 32. I don't want to be in a relationship for the sake of being in one. I want to be with someone who genuinely loves me for who I am. I am old enough to realize there is no point in pretending to be someone I am not just to be in a relationship. Story 33. It takes too much effort to maintain a relationship with a significant other. It is honestly exhausting. Story 34. I was in an abusive relationship 2 years ago, and now I want to be left alone. I don't want anyone touching me, looking at me, or thinking about me. Additionally, I'm already exhausted from working hard at my job and going to the gym, so I only want to spend my free time with my dog. Story 35. I started living alone in 2019, and I have never looked back. I have been diagnosed with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder since then, and I appreciate having my own unperceived space and solitude. I get overwhelmed and stressed by others' gaze and expectations. I don't do things for myself if I feel someone else will be present, and it's a lifelong challenge of masking. I love my own space and making my own decisions. Story 36. I am 33 years old and haven't had a relationship yet, except for one instance with something else. Even if I weren't struggling financially, overweight, or unhealthy, my feelings would remain the same. I don't want to be tied down. Even if a wish could grant me wealth, attractiveness, and other desires, I would still feel the same. I love freedom. Story 37. I love who I am when I am free to be myself. I absolutely dislike who I become when I am in a relationship. It is just not for me. Story 38. I want my relationship to be real and important. I don't want to be with someone just because I am alone or because we are compatible. Story 39. I live an incredibly busy life and cannot afford the time or energy for a relationship. It would be unfair to have a partner if I couldn't give them my undivided attention. I am also a massive nerd, and not everyone appreciates that. Story 40. After a 6-year relationship, during which I owned a home, my partner ended it. I felt like my whole world was pulled out from under me. I had to sell my home and lose my neighbors and neighborhood, and I'm someone who values having a stable home environment. I was single for 7 years after that. Then I entered another relationship, bought a home, and later a second home. After 9 years, that relationship also ended, bringing the same trauma of losing my home and my safe space. Following that breakup, I used my retirement savings to buy a wonderful condo in a great location, paying for it in full during the market downturn in 2008. I have now been single in my condo for 15 years, enjoying a peaceful life without dating or drama, knowing that no one else can disrupt my world. Story 41. Asexual immersive daydreamer with uterine fibroids so large that they make me sterile, and I cannot have intercourse. However, I am still happy with my pets, hobbies, and a job I enjoy. Story 42. I am aromantic asexual. Even if I weren't, I need alone time to recharge and would dislike having someone always in my space. My sleep is also disrupted, and I do not want to share a bed. Story 43. I am hyper-independent and not looking for anything. Relationships are not something I am interested in right now. Story 44. I have experienced traumatic relationships, which have led me to develop a fear of commitment and a fear of heartbreak. Story 45. I was in a relationship for years before getting married. My husband cheated, which caused a downward spiral, and he later passed away while we were separated. At this point, I do not want to sacrifice my peace and sanity to be with a man ever again. I am now focused on raising our child. Story 46. I am a single woman in my 50s and went through a marriage and divorce early in my adult life. I married again, but he passed away when I was in my early 40s. Although I missed him, I realized that I was never truly happy in a relationship and only pursued it because I thought I was supposed to in order to complete my life. It took me a long time to understand that not everyone is suited for relationships, and that is completely acceptable. It doesn't mean there's something missing or anything wrong. I have never been happier in my life and cannot imagine bringing another person into my life to make decisions about money, where I live, how I live, or even what I have for dinner every night. I do not think I could feel as free as I do now if I were with someone. That may sound strange to some, but I have absolutely no doubt that this is who I truly am. Interestingly, I felt more lonely when I was in a relationship than I do now when I am actually alone. Story 47. Relationships can feel like prisons, created by society. You're doing time. You wake up in the morning and she's there. You go to sleep at night and she's there. It feels as if you have to ask permission to use the bathroom. Is it all right if I use the bathroom now? You can forget about watching television while you eat. Why? Because it's dinner time, and what do you do at dinner? You talk about your day. How was your day today? Did you have a good day or a bad day? What kind of day was it? I don't know. How about you? How was your day? It's disheartening. It's a sad state of affairs. Story 48. Peace and quiet. No one to answer to. No one to worry about. No one to run something by or check in with when you go somewhere. I get all the attention from my pets. I get to eat all the snacks I buy. I don't have to worry about meals at specific times or what someone else wants. I get to enjoy my whole bed, minus pet space. I don't have to worry about anyone else's laundry, dishes, or random messes. I get to binge whatever show I want to watch when I want to watch it. Or I can play video games all night without worrying about not paying attention to someone else. Story 49. I have not met the kind of man I want to date. I do not want to waste anyone's time or lead them on. I am already happy by myself and not lonely, so I only want to add to my experience, not subtract from it. Story 50. I am currently dealing with mental health issues, so I am focusing on myself. I am happy being single. Story 51. I love being alone. I do not have to look over my shoulder, constantly worried about being cheated on, and I do not have to entertain anyone for any reason. Story 52. I invested 3 years in a relationship, spending significant money and experiencing frustration. I came home from work to someone who refused to get a job, while her parents spoiled her at 27 years old by buying her a house, a new car, paying her rent for years, allowing her to switch college majors 4 times on their finances, and giving her $800 a month to spend. Despite my hard work, she criticized me for not being affectionate enough. I was exhausted mentally, physically, and financially. I am now perfectly happy taking care of my dog instead of dealing with someone so entitled. Story 53. I have a condition that makes emotional connection very difficult. For a long time, I thought I just wasn't able to love. I have always been able to care about people's well-being, but their presence wasn't emotionally significant. Now I know the real reason, and thankfully, there are treatments for my condition. Takes time, but I'm getting better. Story 54. People can be frustrating. Seriously, the majority can be challenging, and those who seem to be better often just hide their true colors. Social media drives everyone a bit crazy, myself included. The positive aspect of social media is that everyone can express themselves freely, but the downside is that everyone does. I have a job that allows me to avoid direct interaction. I mainly shop online to minimize contact with others. I have a home gym and pets, and I often feel like I will end up alone. I just need to reach a point where I will no longer acquire new pets, as I don't want them to be left behind when I'm gone. Additionally, we are harming our planet, and the potential for global conflict is concerning. Although I am young, I sometimes feel as though my life is already over, and I have come to accept that. Story 55. Personally, I don't feel like it's worth it. I have everything I need or want here, and I don't have the room, time, or attention for anything else. That's just my personal opinion, though. Story 56. I divorced 5 years ago. I'm not sure if I want to start something new. Even if I do, I have to navigate a challenging dating pool. Considering my current situation, I probably don't stand a chance. Story 57. I am afraid of relationships. Talking to one person all day and sharing minor details of my day is not my preference. I just want to live for myself. Story 58. I enjoy having the freedom to do what I want, whenever I want. I love sleeping alone. I am 55 years old and have never been married. I have had a few relationships. I was recently diagnosed with attention deficit disorder, which explains a lot of my experiences. Story 59. I do what I want, when I want, how I want, and where I want. My money is mine, and I am not on anyone else's time ever. I like to be alone and in my own company, no conflict. Story 60. Incredibly complex past situations. Most people are not going to understand me, and if they do, I would likely scare them. To make it work, I would have to hide my past and much of who I really am. Between a superficial relationship and being alone, I usually choose being alone. Story 61. 20 years of 2 separate, committed relationships that didn't work. A career, a child, and elderly parents all require care, and I recognize that few, if any, partners will accept being in 4th place on my priority list. Additionally, it's not difficult to find casual relationships when I want to. Now that I have experienced single life for over 4 years, I have to say it is quite enjoyable. I wish I had embraced this lifestyle before attempting long-term commitments. Story 62. I haven't met anyone I want to dedicate my time to. I enjoy being single, having my space, and my solitude. I date casually and enjoy meeting new people and doing things together without commitment or expectations. When I start to feel pressure, I leave. Story 63. After spending 7 years with the wrong person, you will understand how much worse that is than being alone. Story 64. I am looking for a life partner, not just someone to date casually. I have been working hard on myself to become the person I aspire to be. One day, I hope to get married and possibly have children if that is feasible. However, I cannot pursue that with someone who is only interested in casual dating. I want a life partner that I can trust. I seek someone who genuinely wants to be by my side and share life with me. It is important to me that this person shows they care and that I am truly significant to them. I have not yet met that person. Honestly, I have encountered many types of women, but not that type. Story 65. I would say I am single by choice. I would love a partner, but I have a very full life without one and do not spend time looking. If someone comes along who meets my standards, then of course I would consider the prospect, but honestly, I highly doubt that is going to happen at this point. Story 66. I am quite content on my own. I do not see how a romantic relationship would benefit me. Relationships have only disturbed my peace in the past, and I do not want to go through that experience again. Story 67. I'm feeling overwhelmed with anxiety and depression. I need help urgently. While dating someone could potentially alleviate many of the issues I'm facing, I do not want to burden another person with my struggles. So I will wait until I'm in a better place or until someone approaches me. Story 68. I really enjoy the label aromantic because when people ask me why I am single, I can say, oh, I am just aromantic, I guess. The reality is that, as some have expressed, the benefits seem exclusively financial, and I do not want to sell my soul for money. My parents have been together for 40 years. They love each other. They will never get divorced. They both came from difficult backgrounds, abject poverty that included dumpster diving in the 1970s and 1980s and experiences of incest. They did not know their biological fathers. So when she got pregnant, they talked and decided their children would have 2 parents, and a summer hookup turned into a marriage. They spent the next 5 years learning to be in love, to trust each other, and to discuss everything that made them tick for the benefit of the other person. Through luck and determination, that worked. Even their relationship, I am just not jealous of it. I do not want it, I do not need it. Frankly, tongue-in-cheek, I blame them. I had the life that everyone thinks they want: mom, dad, little sister, 2 cars, pets, food, clothes, and just enough financial struggle to keep extended family and community involved. Like grandma buying my school shoes or a teacher I really liked paying for my field trip. There was not enough wealth to grow detached or have unrealistic standards. My military dad was always the lone intellectual liberal, and my mother let me stay up late to watch Real Time when she got home from work. Thankfully, I missed out on all the religious nonsense. Hunting, shooting, and NASCAR were never in my cards. We talked, we debated ideas, we enjoyed good dramas, and I had a TV in my room so I could watch alternative comedy, 1990s Nickelodeon, and game shows without annoying them. You could not have chosen a better childhood for me. All that to say, I do not have the hole in my heart that most people are trying to fill with a relationship. I do not want to build a family because I grew up in the best one. I have already had that experience. It was awesome, but now I want to see and do other things in life. Being gay in the South, I always saw it as a positive. I was free from the life that others projected onto me. The picket fence was not for me, and I felt nothing but relief. I was briefly against gay marriage because I thought it was insane that any gay person would imprison themselves in a facsimile of straight life. I did some years of therapy, overcame my internalized homophobia, learned compartmentalization, and consider myself post-depression for over 10 years now, something that the 25-year-old me thought would be a lifelong problem, eventually ending in suicide. That giant dark cloud is now a mere puff of cigarette smoke dissipating in the wind. I see it, recognize it, tap into it for art's sake, but depressive thinking is just a switch I can turn on and off now, and I love leaving it in the off position for weeks at a time, laughing at the memories of misery, midnight tears, and morning paralysis. How could I be the same person in the same body and behave so differently? Cognitive behavioral therapy saved my life. It gave me a life to care about, a sense of self to preserve and nurture. My favorite comment in this thread was, "I cannot imagine having to make plans around someone else's needs." Yes, it is a lot like that for me too. No one gets to tell me where I am eating on Thanksgiving or what day of the week I am going grocery shopping. Another comment I liked was, "Relationships feel like a glass cage lowering down around me." Same. I could not have said it better myself. I am the person who only has one piece of advice for others, and many find it deeply troubling because it goes against the cliché. But it is break up. Love is not worth fighting for. Story 69. No woman has ever been happy with me. I took 5 years off to deal with past traumas and childhood abuse, and now I think I will stay single forever to make it easier on everyone else. Story 70. I'm not in the best headspace right now, and I don't want to involve anyone in that. I feel broken and lost, and I don't want to hurt anyone. To be completely honest, I can't endure another heartbreak. It would take a long time for me to find inner peace and to share that peace with someone else. Until then, I have my own inner work to do. Story 71. My sister is in that role. She is the stay-at-home person in the house. Introducing a guy would mean replacing her, which is not my goal. I have a good system in place. No guy will take on the supporting role. I also value my sister. She is my best friend. When I was in relationships with men, I had to handle everything. Providing, cooking, cleaning, doing laundry, maintaining the house, and managing hired help. I would prefer not to take on those responsibilities. I enjoy focusing on work and attending school. Story 72. I am a 20-year-old man and have not found anyone I genuinely want to date yet. I am comfortable being single and do not feel a strong need to be in a relationship. I am not necessarily waiting for the perfect partner, as I understand that is an unattainable ideal. However, I know that my perspective may change when I turn 21 or 22, as I would like to make the most of my college years and not let them pass without experiencing a meaningful relationship. Story 73. I'm not ready yet. My stepdad provides for all of us. I don't have a car, a job, or money. I struggle to get my work done and wake up around noon daily. I'm not ready for all of that. Story 74. After more than a decade of trying, I could never connect with someone like that. It became exhausting to pursue something that amounted to nothing, which turned me off from dating. As long as I have a periodic physical outlet, I am fine. Story 75. I am a specific type of man who attracts a certain type of woman, but none of them are suitable for a long-term relationship or for me. Story 76. I think I might be transmasculine but haven't made any outward changes yet. The thought of being someone's girlfriend makes me feel uncomfortable. Story 77. Dating and marriage are often perceived as schemes influenced by societal expectations. Some believe that women may take advantage of men, leading to significant losses. The societal narrative suggests that dating is primarily a pathway to marriage and parenthood, which many feel is not fulfilling. Prioritize your peace and consider the implications of commitment carefully. Remember, a life without unnecessary complications can lead to greater happiness. Story 78. Boyfriends require a lot of effort for minimal reward. My sister desperately wanted to be a mother, but she settled for a terrible person. I cannot make that compromise. Story 79. 50% of my relationships have ended with my girlfriend cheating on me, so I have decided I am done being hurt. Story 80. Currently married. Planning to leave. The reason I will be single is explained in the first bullet point. Story 81. It is not worth the pain. I have dated many girls recently who showed signs of interest, only to go cold overnight. I cannot do it anymore. Story 82. I honestly loved being in love once upon a time, but things change with age, I suppose. I am 55 now, and the last few women I have been interested in all said the same thing. Let's just stay friends. And I am not going to fall in love with you. So that did it for me. I will just do my own thing from now on. Story 83. Consideration for others is important. I feel lonely, but I recognize that I am not in a good place. Story 84. I am currently busy working on my house. I ended my previous relationship almost 2 years ago and installed all the dating apps, but I haven't made any accounts or profiles yet. Feels like procrastination. Story 85. I don't like being touched by anyone, and the idea of sexual contact has never interested me. Story 86. I have heard that having a strong marriage is important when raising children to provide them with a sense of security. However, since I do not have any children, marriage is not necessary for me. That is why I am still single and do not date. Story 87. I have several small problems that need attention. If I'm going to be with someone, I want to be with someone who I know won't be shaken by them. Story 88. I am self-aware enough to know I do not make a good partner, and I enjoy being selfish, which would not be fair to any potential partner. Story 89. Finally, I got the opportunity to relax and enjoy the vacation without any distractions. Story 90. Honestly, I am really enjoying sleeping alone in my bed right now. I feel a bit lonely, but the idea of needing to share my bed with someone truly bums me out. Story 91. I have been single for a long time and finally dated someone long distance 3 years ago. It was great because we were the best version of each other. We would go on adventures, hang out, laugh, and then return to our lives. There was complete trust, and the excitement of seeing that person was an absolute blast. I would do that again in a heartbeat, but being with someone all the time is not for me. Story 92. I experienced significant sexual abuse as a child from both men and women, leading me to want nothing to do with romance or intimacy. Story 93. I am working on myself and have some personal projects that seem challenging. I don't want to involve someone else in that struggle. Story 94. 8 years and still going. My goal has been to understand myself and my specific wants and needs before bringing someone else into the equation and unintentionally projecting my insecurities onto them. I want to recognize my faults in the moment and never blame someone else for my own feelings of inadequacy. I want to find someone who sees me for who I strive to be, rather than a sum of my faults, and spend our lives building each other up into the best versions of ourselves. I've met one person like that in my entire 27 years of life. Unfortunately, I met them too early in my journey. Over the years, I've learned to look inward and to love myself. My faults and old insecurities have become a part of my identity that I'm proud of. I've learned the hard way that self-love is a balance between comfort and growth. I settled into a career and life that I'm proud of. I have experienced the effects of untreated mental illness and wouldn't wish that on anyone. A quick example is my ex self-harming in discreet places because I chose a nice spot for our anniversary and she couldn't decide what to wear. I found out about that after she cheated on me. Now, wish me luck finding someone compatible because it is a difficult task. Story 95. Lack of effort. I don't have anything to offer a partner. I am always tired. I have a poor work schedule and poor mental health. The list goes on. Story 96. Not having the mental capacity to date while dealing with personal challenges is unfair to the other person, the relationship, and myself. Story 97. I don't really care that much. Romantic companionship isn't something I feel a need for. I don't tend to connect with many people on that level, and that's fine. I'm also asexual and most likely some form of demiromantic. I don't see a huge distinction between a relationship and a close friendship. In fact, a couple of my past partners were labeled as such for the purpose of social ease. People understand partner in a context where friend might raise eyebrows. Story 98. I have decided not to have children due to cancer running in my family, including my grandparents, parents, and aunts. I have had cancer twice myself, and I refuse to take the chance of fathering a child and passing it on. I have been single for some time and do not see that changing. Story 99. The effort of dating does not pay off. I rarely enjoy my time on dates. The emotional effort required for dating is beyond my capacity. So, I am not single by choice, but I am not dating by choice, which is basically the same thing because how else would I stop being single? Story 100. I make poor decisions. I might take risks if it were just me, but I have a child now, and I will not expose him to my bad choices. Story 101. At this point in time, dating is more trouble than it is worth. I am 32 years old, have experienced a lot of trauma, and am a recovering addict. My last boyfriend overdosed and died. Both of my parents are deceased, and I have faced many other challenges. This makes getting to know new people very difficult. I get tired of sharing my story and seeing people lose interest. I have been told I am generally attractive, but I still deal with insecurities, which makes things harder. Living in a state where abortion is banned adds to the risks of being intimate with any man, even when using protection. I have already endured so much pain in my life that I do not want to invite more if I can avoid it. Dating and love have never been kind to me and have made my life more challenging and sad, to be honest. At this point, I would rather focus on myself, stay as healthy as I can, and seek happiness where it is available. Do I want a partner eventually? Honestly, yes. I would love to have one, but I do not see it happening for me, so I tend to avoid the prospect. Additionally, not everyone ends up with someone, so I have to accept that I could be one of those individuals and still lead a fulfilling life, regardless of what challenges life continues to present. Story 102. I don't want to date until my sophomore year of college because I feel that people at that age have a better sense of how to balance their studies and relationships. They are also more emotionally aware and mature. However, this might just be a personal belief, so I would consider dating anytime in college as long as it is not before or during my freshman year. Story 103. Most people become weary of caring for sick partners, and I am aware of the statistics regarding the abuse of disabled individuals. I am not willing to take that risk. It is not a significant concern for me. I do not often form strong attachments to others. Story 104. Not really by choice, though. I just want an equal partner in looks, finances, and intellect. To be honest, I would be really happy if I could find someone on my level, but the search is kind of hopeless. The attractive ones aren't that fun to talk to. The ones who understand jokes quickly aren't that attractive. And the rare attractive ones who can hold a conversation. They come with high maintenance costs. Story 105. I can barely afford to eat to survive, and the living situation is even worse. What am I going to do with another person in this situation? Story 106. I enjoy being by myself. I do not like being in constant contact with people, and the expectation of having to make myself available all the time for someone is something I am not willing to do. It's nice not having to worry about anyone. This situation comes with its own set of drawbacks, but I would rather deal with a period of loneliness than someone's constant needs. Story 107. You know how people complain about never having time to do things they enjoy? Well, I do. It's amusing. Being single doesn't mean being celibate, so what exactly am I missing? Story 108. I have dated quite a bit, and each time it ends, I dislike losing the person. I suppose this isn't solely about dating. I just do not like losing people in general. Story 109. I enjoy the peace and freedom to spend as much as I want on myself while also having my schedule open to do anything, like going for a run, taking a long nap, studying, or treating myself to a nice meal without worrying about the cost. I don't have to worry about anyone else but myself, so I don't feel selfish about how I choose to spend my day. Story 110. It's not that I've ruled out the possibility, but after my last serious relationship ended poorly, which eventually led me to quit drinking, I've put up some protective barriers to avoid getting hurt as badly again. Since then, any promising scenarios have involved people who are dealing with problematic substance use, which is fine because I understand that struggle. However, I'm in a different place now. I know what I'm looking for, and I haven't found it yet. I'm also not actively searching because I'm content with my current friendships and social support. A relationship could be nice, but I'm understandably cautious. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.